Phil Kohler.
Yeah.
Pico.
Hey, hi.
Pico, as I've started calling you, or Pico de Gallo. A lot of people love that nickname.
No one likes that.
It's Monday. We're recording this on Monday. I've got a case of the Mondays. What say we kill hundreds and hundreds of people?
Whoa. Griffin,
Just to sort of chase those Monday blues away, kind of like Garfield did in all of his Garfield comics.
You want to start off the week by killing hundreds of people.
Hundreds and hundreds of people. This is Hotline Miami 2, including, that's Garfield right there. Playable Garfield, confirmed.
Sure.
That's not blood all over his face. It is lasagna. It's the sequel to Hotline Miami, and it is out this week and is pretty slick, man. Our review just went up at the same time as this video. If we've timed this correctly, there's a good chance that we haven't. And it does a lot of the same stuff that the original Hotline did. Did you play Hotline Miami 1?
I did. I'm gonna go ahead and say bloody game.
Yeah, check that.
That
shit
one
out,
was, and this one is too.
Very bloody. But it has this mask that gives you 2 submachine guns that you can hold akimbo and spin around like some sort of radical bullet sprinkler, and it's the best thing in the game. I'm gonna
note here, you're dying a lot.
I'm dying a lot. Well, yeah, that's Hotline Miami. You die like a shit ton. This might be my single favorite hallway in the video game. And by extension, like one of my favorite hallways in video game history. Because I never make this maneuver work, right? There's too many guys. There's too many guys everywhere. In Hotline Miami 2, like the game on a whole is a lot harder than the original. That was great. It's a lot harder than the original. Levels are much bigger. They take much longer to beat, and there are in some of these levels like twice as many enemies as like the biggest level in the original Hotline Miami.
Sure, yeah. Already I'm noticing there's a lot of dudes, and it seems like more than were in a lot of the levels I remember from the first game.
And it's very dense. Like a room is gonna each side of this hallway has 2 rooms, right, with walls of windows and like 2 armed soldiers each. Like that's really hard to get around. So that strategy never works out, but playing as that with that mask on and spinning around with 2 guns held out to your side is rad every time. So right now I'm playing as a group of people known as the fans, who are basically like idolize the killer from the original Hotline Miami. This is one of 9 sort of characters, or I guess groups of characters, since there are 5 people in the fans organization.
So I'm cheating a little bit here, Griffin, because I have read your review, but I think now is probably a great time to just give us a quick overview of the nice and simple storyline.
I can't. I literally can't. I don't even want to begin telling you about the storyline of Hotline Miami 2, because it is all very like tenuous, loose threads connecting these 9 storylines that bounce around both before and after the events of the original Hotline Miami, and putting together like what is exactly going on. Or not even exactly what's going on. Having any goddamn idea what's going on is like one of the more rewarding parts of the game. Figuring it out is like is one of the better parts of the game. So the fans take place after Hotline Miami. There, I was just playing as Corey, who has a special ability that lets them dodge roll. She can dodge roll, and she can dodge underneath bullets. So like you can get out of the way of a shotgun blast as you approach the holder of the shotgun. It's pretty rad. This is Tony the Tiger. He kills with punches, but he can't pick up weapons. So like this is the most sort of similar to the original Hotline Miami. The fans are, I would say. You unlock the different masks which are worn by these different characters. And then whenever you play as the fans, typically you can pick which character you want to play as. This is actually a special level where you have to do 4 different wings of this big building, playing as each of the different characters in the fans.
Sure.
A lot of the time, though, like it sort of breaks away from the original Hotline Miami, in which you got masks. If you did good, right, you got a good score, you get a new mask. And then by the end of the game, you have this huge catalog of masks, and you can pick your favorite. You can pick the one that best suits your playstyle for each level. You can't do that here, because each level is going to put you in the shoes of one of these 9 different characters. And there might be some unlockables, like for instance, the fans have these 4 characters that you unlock as you play. But that's like a far cry from the huge list of masks that you would have in the original that you could find your favorites from.
So is that a disappointment? Because that seems a little bit like you're getting a little less choice in what you're doing.
Yeah, totally. Like it is kind of. At the same time, like I think it's kind of necessary, because there were kind of some cheesy masks in the original that let you sort of break the core mechanic of the game.
Sure.
But like, it's just not a very compelling, like, it's not a super engaging progression cycle at all. Here, I'm trying to outsmart this guy. Let me just get in there. Nope, dead.
Yep.
This is another one of the fans. It's actually two people, a brother and sister.
Okay.
It's two people who, one of them uses a pistol, which you fire with the left bumper or whatever the left attack button is. You fire the pistol that you can aim by locking onto enemies, and then the other person has a chainsaw. It's really hard. It's like Ice Climbers Smash Brothers rule, where if one of them dies, they both die. So like you really have to be on top of your game.
I mean, it seems really cool, but also very.
It's twice as difficult because you can't. But like some of the characters are more interesting than others. There's a detective that you play as who there might be some like subtle tweaks to like survivability and stuff like that. But for the most part, like there are, I want to say like 3 characters who don't have any unlockables, don't have any like choice for how they are outfitted before you start. That sort of feel kind of exactly the same. And so some characters are more interesting than others. I think that combined with the fact that the levels are a lot longer, which ends up like being a kind of more of a problem closer to the end of the game, where levels will take you minutes to beat a single floor, which doesn't sound like a long time, but like in the original, like you're talking about seconds, and you just repeat that seconds long loop over and over again until you perfect it. Here the loop is way longer, and so like maybe you've played through a floor for 2 minutes and you've cleared a bunch of shit out. You don't want to die at that point. Like because it happens, like you still die, and when it happens, like it gets really grating kind of, and to like avoid those bad vibes, I just sort of stopped risking it as much as I did in the shorter levels, and which gives like the game sort of a different feel. It makes it a little bit more tense and a little bit more survival focused, but like this hypnotic loop of like perfecting your line, right, is I think a little bit diminished.
Yeah, like the real draw of the first game really was like figuring out how you could turn those levels into like a combo that just went the whole time.
Right, and here it's going to be so hard to do like a level long combo, but you can still do dope shit. Like I just cleaned out almost this entire floor with like a combination of pistols I picked up, and then I would grab a nightstick off the person I just shot and throw it at another person, and then throttle them, and then pick up their shotgun, and like that idea is still here. And when it is like popping off unfettered, it's still like one of the dopest like game mechanics in any action game ever. Like I still adore it. It's just not as trance-like, I think, as it was in the original. This level's really cool. It's like a prison escape sequence. And this is another character that sort of adds a cool twist to the mix. His name is Evan, and he's a writer, and he's like investigating the killings from the original. And he doesn't like to kill people. He will always sort of...
Oh, he's in the wrong game.
Yeah, he's actually tried to get in his cab there to leave, but no, I'm going to punch that man to death. But he feels super guilty about it and starts freaking out and tries to give him mouth-to-mouth. It's really great. So yeah, like there are some characters that do some interesting stuff. There's a soldier you can play as who you pick his weapon at the beginning of the level, and then if it runs out of ammo, you have to find an ammo box and pick more up. So like there are definitely some big changes to how Hotline Miami functions, but like my favorite stuff is still playing as the fans and the fans who I think emulate the original Hotline Miami the most closely, the most truly.
I'm gonna say for a writer and for somebody who does not like killing, this guy's...
Okay, but so far in this run, he only killed that first guy, right?
Oh, these are all... He's just incapacitated.
He's incapacitated. Check this out. If you try to pick up a gun, he picks it up and he takes the bullets out and scatters it, and you get points for that.
Huh.
Yeah, it's like a kind of an interesting conceit. He can't pick up knives and use those. He can't pick up guns and use those. When he is in normal Evan mode. There, he just unloaded that shotgun. This is normal Evan mode, and we'll talk about what happens, how you can get him out of normal Evan mode here in a bit. But the cool thing about this game is the story. And I alluded to that earlier, and I don't want to like spoil anything. I've sort of been trying to show a loose vignette of like places you'll go to. It's a longer game than the original. The story is like, very few game developers are bold enough to tell a story like this game tells a story, which is to say completely out of order, completely like it's up to you to decide like how you want to tell it. Okay, so Evan can punch people, right? And if he keeps punching them, he will beat them to death. And if you do that to 2 people, he freaks out he rips his jacket off and goes into rage mode, and then you can just like go hog wild, which is kind of fun. But the story is really great and open to interpretation, and I would, you know what?
I guess the thing that I'm worried about is like a lot of games that try to tell really complex stories like that aren't able to pull it off very well.
And I think that there are probably going to be some people who think that about Hotline Miami too. I really do. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, it was almost giving me like a Lost vibe. Like, I wanted to know more about the 50 Blessings, the organization that like is kind of driving the events of the game, like way, way, way deep in the background. Like, I got super deep into that, and this game like explores that story from 9 different perspectives spanning like almost 2 decades. Like it is a complex and super bold storytelling like experiment. And I think that it does drop the ball from time to time. Like there are some levels where you're just like, that was terrible. That was my last guy. There are some levels where like you just are in a place murdering people with like really terrible explanation for why you're doing it. Like it's not perfect. It's just so like goddamn interesting. Like I can't stop thinking about it. I'm excited for this game to come out so I can start talking to people like about what happened in it, and that is something that almost never happens to me in a video game. Like
it's very rare.
Either the story is just not good, it's not interesting, or it's just not open to interpretation. Like it's very what you see is what you get, and that is super not the case in Hotline Miami, because like there are parts where it's not great. There are a few parts where it's not great, and then there are parts where you just have no idea what's going on and you're trying to connect the dots. I'm honestly excited for reviews for this to drop, because I think it's going to be kind of divisive, because I don't think that's going to work for everybody, but god damn, it worked for me in a big way.
I'm excited for your review to drop.
Yeah, me too.
It's out.
It's
Go
out
read it
now. Yeah, this Hotline Miami, it's coming out. It's out now on PC, right? It's coming out this week on PC, PS4, and Vita. Yeah, it's really neat. It's really, I mean, it's hyper violent, and in a way that like the original wasn't, because it sort of makes you think about your violence more than the original did. Which is, I mean, I've got a really strong stomach for stuff like that, and there's still some shit that happens in this game that I was like, whoa, Nelly. But on the whole, like, it is a super, super slick product that I can't stop thinking about it. And that soundtrack too, Phil.
Awesome. I'm gonna go check it out.
Let's throw a warehouse rave to the soundtrack of Hotline Miami 2, and you're all invited.
Right now.
Right now. It's happening right now. Good luck finding it. Thanks for watching.